They sold you a dream, didn't they? All neat and shiny, wrapped in glittering hope and polished smiles. Success, achievement, purpose, the holy trinity of modern worship. They told you, work hard, follow the rules, keep your head down, and one day you'll win. Win what? The corner office? The car with too many zeros in the price tag? The applause from people who would spit on your grave the second your name fades from their feed? They told you success was a staircase, straight, simple, well lit. But they didn't tell you that each step was greased with blood. Yours. They didn't tell you about the nights you'd scream into your pillow, or the mornings you'd stare at your own reflection wondering, who the hell is that? You were told to be good, to be kind, to be reasonable. Reasonable. What a joke. You were never meant to succeed. Not in their world. Not in their system built on lies, illusions, and the bones of people just like you who believed the script. Because here's the truth they never want you to hear. Success is a weapon. It's used to keep you chasing, panting, grinding, until your soul wears thin and your dreams become products they can sell back to you. They wave it in front of your eyes like a carrot in front of a starving dog. And if you collapse chasing it, well, they'll step over your body on their way to the next fool. But you're different, aren't you? Because something inside you, something raw, is starting to crack. You're seeing the seams in the story. You're feeling the weight of the lie. That's why you're here. That's why you're still listening. You've tasted failure, maybe once, maybe 1,000 times. And every time, it cut deeper. But what if I told you that those cuts, they weren't killing you. They were carving you, carving something real, something they'll never be able to fake, copy, or sell. Everyone loves the moment the hero rises. They cheer when he climbs out of the rubble, bleeding but alive. They cry when the music swells and the camera zooms in on his trembling, victorious smile. But no one talks about the moment before that. The fall, not the romanticized fall, not the one with tragic violins and poetic lighting. No, I'm talking about the real fall, the sickening, cold, silent one, where the air leaves your lungs and the world keeps spinning, and you're not even worth a pause. You didn't trip, you didn't stumble, you plummeted. Everything, your beliefs, your plans, your sense of control, ripped out from under you. And what did you land on? Rock bottom? Number. There is no bottom. There's just gravity, a never-ending pull into a version of yourself you never wanted to meet. But there in that free fall you saw something, didn't you? Not hope, not salvation. You saw the truth, the horrifying, liberating, skin-peeling truth. Nobody's coming, no hands reaching down, no soft words, no magic, just you. And the pieces they say you learn from falling. What they don't say is how many times you'll fall just to figure out how to crawl again. Not walk, not run. Crawl, face down in your own shame, clawing at the walls of your mind, screaming for anyone to tell you it's not over. But it is. The version of you that started this story, they died on impact. And now you have a choice. Bury them, or become something else entirely. Let me tell you what falling teaches you. It teaches you that fear is a luxury, that comfort is a coffin, that kindness, real kindness, only exists when you've suffered enough to mean it. It teaches you how to hear your own voice, not the voice they gave you, not the one made for interviews and first dates, but the voice that growls in the dark when there's blood in your mouth and no one left to blame. It teaches you that every promise they made about the world's safety, fairness, reward was just noise. And without the noise, you start to see clearly. You stop waiting. You stop asking. You stop hoping. And instead, you start building, brick by broken brick. You build with the ruins. You stitch your failures into armor. You forge your shame into sharpness. And something begins to take shape, something they can't label, control, or understand. Because you didn't rise with applause. You didn't rise to inspire. You rose because staying down became more painful than standing up. You rose because something inside you refused to stay dead. Falling isn't the opposite of flying. Falling is the beginning of flight, because it teaches you one thing the surface never will. Wings aren't given. They're built. With every drop, every scar, every scream they never heard. You want to fly? Then fall. Fall deep. Fall until the world forgets your name. And then, burn it into the stone with your bare hands. Because only those who face the abyss can walk among the gods without flinching. You wear a mask. Don't lie. We all do. It's the first thing they hand you, isn't it? When you're young, before you even know what a self really is, they hand you a nice, clean mask. Here, they say, this is who you are. Polite, smart, normal, useful. They teach you how to smile the right way, how to talk so people will like you, how to blend in just enough to avoid the wolves, but not so much that you forget you're still prey. And you play along because you're afraid not to. Because deep down, even as a child, you could feel it, that the truth of who you really are would never be allowed. So you wear the mask, and you get good at it. Too good. Soon, you don't even know where the mask ends and your skin begins. You laugh on cue. You cry when expected. You nod when they feed you dreams you never asked for. But something inside you resents the charade. It scratches at the edges. It whispers in the silence. This isn't real. This isn't you. And then one day the cracks start. Maybe it's a betrayal, a loss, a failure that hits too hard, too fast, too real. And the mask begins to split. Not all at once. Oh no, it's slow, cruel, like a mirror webbing from a single fracture. And suddenly, you see it, not what the world sees, but what's underneath. The rage, the fear, the hunger, the truth. And for the first time, you feel alive. They told you your darkness made you unworthy. But what if it's the only honest thing about you? What if the monster they told you to hide is the only part of you that's actually free? You see, the mask wasn't protection. It was a prison, a way to keep your light dimmed, your fire tamed. Because if they can keep you playing nice, They don't have to deal with what happens when you stop pretending, and that's what they fear most. The day you crack the mask and don't put it back on. You think you're broken because you don't fit in? Good. That means the mold couldn't hold you. You think your emotions are too much? Good. That means you still feel. You think your rage is dangerous? Good. That means your soul still remembers what was taken from you. They don't want you real. They want you manageable, predictable, profitable, silent. But the mask is slipping now, isn't it? And what's underneath is not quiet. Here's the truth most never say out loud. You don't need to fix yourself. You need to unhide yourself. The real you. The one that screams in your sleep and clenches your fists when people lie with smiles. That version? It's not weak. It's not broken. It's awake. The mask was built to keep that version sedated. But now you know. Now you see the cracks. Now you feel the split. And you're not afraid anymore, are you? You're hungry. Because once the mask breaks, there's no going back to plastic. Only forward. Into fire. Into truth. Into the ugly, divine freedom of your real self. Let them be afraid of what they see. You were not born to be pretty. You were born to be powerful. And power is ugly. It's raw. It's unfiltered. Just like you. It all burns. Eventually, the dreams, the identity, the version of you that played by the rules, followed the map, believed the promises, gone, up in smoke. At first, you panic. You reach for what's familiar. Try to salvage something from the wreckage. But the fire doesn't care what you want to keep. It takes it all. Every illusion, every safety net, every lie you told yourself to sleep at night. And when it's done, there's nothing left but you, the raw, blackened bones of what you used to be. That's when it begins. Not before. Not during the climb. Not during the applause. But here, in the ash, rebirth isn't pretty. It's not poetic. It's violent. A slow, painful crawl out of yourself. No guidance. No guarantees. No applause. Only pain. And the sick, slow realization that you are the one who must rebuild. Brick by brick. Thought by thought. Scar by scar. You see, the phoenix isn't powerful because it flies. It's powerful because it burns and chooses to rise anyway. And you're burning right now. That's what failure is. That's what pain is. A fire that strips you down to truth. You've lost things. People, plans, parts of yourself you thought were permanent. Good. Let them go. If it burned, it wasn't meant to last. Only the real survives the flame. Only the necessary. Only the you that was hidden beneath all that polite, domesticated nonsense. They'll look at your ashes and mourn the version of you they liked. The agreeable one, the predictable one. Let them mourn. But don't you dare mourn yourself. Because this is not the end. This is the beginning. Every person who's ever become something untouchable, they all had to die first. Not literally, not always, but the old self had to go. the one who bowed to fear, the one who asked for permission, the one who tried so damn hard to be liked. That version, it had to burn, because you can't be reborn holding on to pieces of your own prison. You want freedom? Then earn it through blood, through heat, through the unbearable silence that comes when everything collapses, and when the world expects you to stay down, you rise, not polished, not pretty, but scarred and real and dangerous. They thought the fire would break you. They didn't realize you are the fire. And now you burn with purpose, with direction, with a hunger that no one can tame. Because from these ashes, you're not building a comeback. You're building a new kingdom, one that bows to no one. They call it madness. When you stop flinching, when you start laughing in the middle of collapse, when you no longer chase love or validation or even understanding, they call it madness. Because to them, sanity means submission. Follow the path, nod at the checkpoints, break down quietly when no one's watching, and then smile when they throw you crumbs like medals. But you went off script. You let the pain in. You let the failure sit beside you and whisper its cruel truths. You stared into the black and didn't look away. And now, you don't beg anymore. You don't need to, because you've learned the most terrifying truth of all. You can survive anything. They see the scars and assume they're wounds, but they're not. They're blueprints, reminders of every time you shattered and stitched yourself back together, not the same, but sharper, not healed, evolved. You didn't become stronger by pretending you were okay. You became stronger because you stopped lying to yourself. You didn't need therapy. You needed war, not against the world, not even against them. Against yourself, against the part of you that still wanted to be liked, that still wanted to be saved, that still waited for someone to come fix it all. That part had to die, and it did. You're not a survivor. You're not a warrior. You're something else now. You're what happens when a human soul breaks past repair and keeps going. Not because of hope, but because of rage, because of clarity, because the alternative, going back to who you were, became more painful than the war itself. They'll say you lost your mind. Let them, because madness is mercy. Madness is the permission to finally be honest, to scream without apology, to love yourself without waiting for the world to approve, to stop asking, why me, and start saying, try me. Madness is no longer seeing yourself as a victim of fate, but as a weapon forged by it. You didn't come here to be understood. You came here to remember who you are beneath the ruin, what you are beneath the fear, and why you're still standing. Let them call you broken. Let them call you insane. They think they're insulting you, but you know better. You earned every fracture, every laugh that escaped when you should have cried, every cold, steady breath while the world screamed around you, every moment you wanted to give up but didn't. You don't want their throne. You don't want their praise. You want the truth. And the truth is this: you've made failure your best friend. You've danced with darkness. You've kissed madness on the mouth, and didn't flinch. And now you are free. Not because you have no fear, but because you own it. Not because you're perfect, but because you're real. The masks are gone. The fire is over. The world is silent. And you're still here. They will never understand what you've become. They don't have to. You know what you had to crawl through. You know what you had to sacrifice. You know what had to die in order for this to live. And so you walk forward, alone, unapologetic, unstoppable, not because of the light, but because you've made peace with the dark. This is not a comeback story. This is a resurrection, not the second chance you hoped for, the only chance that mattered. So laugh if you must, cry if you want, scream, breathe, bleed, whatever it takes. But don't ever apologize for becoming what they tried to bury. They thought they were throwing dirt on your grave, but you were planting yourself. And now you rise.